is 7:01. I will call the meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Flores? Gonzalez?
Here.
Hussein?
Here.
Jost? Here. Messages?
Here.
Pelletier here. Puzo?
Here. Okay, next, public comments, agenda items only, and we have some public. Hello. Okay, so, first, before, we approve the consent agenda, is there anything that anyone would like to pull off of that? No. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the regular board meeting minutes from December and the financial statements from December 2023.
I'll second.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Hussein?
Yes.
Jost? Messages?
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Puzo?
Yes. Okay. President's report, I'm sure by now everyone has seen that the library is going to be closed tomorrow. Pam and I touched base earlier today, and with all the travel advisories and with the weather, I was looking tomorrow. I didn't feel like it was the safe choice to have our staff come in and risk that kind of travel. So plans for library to reopen, resume regular hours on Saturday, and unless something changes, but we will, you know, keep everyone posted if anything else changes. Committee reports, finance we did under consent. Facility doesn't have anything as of now. Policy, you guys are not meeting until, is it March?
March, I think.
Yeah, okay. Staff reports, is there anything you would like to add or highlight on yours?
I don't think so. Like I said, December was, relatively quiet, just wrapping up the year and that kind of thing, so that, I don't really have anything else to add unless anyone has any questions. Or if any of the department managers want to add anything to their written reports.
Since we have some
The three of them are
managers.
sitting in the
Yeah,
end.
would anyone like to add anything to their report?
We're almost at 300 signups for winter reading club, and last year we only had 272, less than
Oh, that's
270.
awesome.
So we're doing better this year than last year.
That's great.
Well, I just have a question.
Mhm.
What was Maine East, what kind of program were they here for?
I
It was a
don't-
teen program, there was 40 Maine East students here at some point, anybody know?
I can ask Melissa.
I'm just curious.
I don't know off the
And I
top
wanna
of
know
my
how
head.
it went, since it's hard to read to the teens. I'm guessing it was like a school requirement.
You noticed Melzer too, 494. That's a lot.
They're doing,
Yeah.
they were doing winter reading club at Melver, so sorry, go ahead.
Okay, no.
There's a new school liaison at Niles, so she and Jesse went to every single classroom at Melzer, plugging the winter reading programs at both libraries. Which is, and like the next day, it was a madhouse downstairs with kids coming in to sign up, so that was exciting.
The other thing that caught my eye was the fermented vegetables. Had like the adult section, the largest attendance. Who knew fermented vegetables? Being strong.
Usually any cooking things are pretty popular with people, so, yeah. Melissa's not here anymore, so I don't know off the top of my head what the program was.
Yeah.
I think Kaylin went to, like,
Did
they
she
had,
go to the
they had
school?
invited libraries
Yeah,
from
she
different
did.
to promote teen programming and things like that, so I think at a table.
That makes sense.
So it's just
So it wasn't them all
Yeah.
coming here.
Right, yeah.
I'm like, I don't remember.
I don't, yeah, no,
I
that's why I'm like.
I feel like they would be very obvious.
Right.
I think she went to the school.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Anything else?
Okay, so, At this point, we are under unfinished business, and that brings us to discussion of our strategic plan. Amanda is on Zoom and watching us. I don't know what your screen looks like with us sitting up here. But you're gonna present, so we're gonna move down to the audience. So bear with us, audience.
Maybe do the one that's on the stage, turn the lights off on the stage. Okay.
I could hear you guys on the stage surprisingly well, if you ever need to do that again.
Oh, all right.
My face. Oh gosh, when I look like such a noob here. I need to get to,
Do you need me to not turn it?
nope, that's good. Do you want the camera on the screen? That camera?
That's what I just asked Suzanne, she said we're just gonna let it.
That's fine.
Okay, we ready?
Can everyone hear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody
Yes,
can hear?
I think
Awesome.
we're ready.
Great, I'm grateful to be with you tonight. I'm already not there in person, but it's very exciting night because we're gonna review on where we're at with our strategic plan. I'm gonna go through, the slides, and I'm gonna have some help from staff as well. Everybody has a copy of the strategic plan, right, Pam?
Yes.
Okay, so you can kind of follow along if you want to in your paper plan, but I'm also gonna show it on the screen. I wanna start with why. Why did we engage in this strategic planning process? As we've talked about throughout this process, it's important to have a strategic plan so that you as board members can make decisions about the future, allocating resources, that sort of thing. Also, so staff understands like what are the types of things they might be working on. And the community wants to know how you're going to be allocating resources. And so this process has led us to a place where we can communicate what we're going to be working on, our goals. This is the planning team. I can see you guys still adjusting things on the screen there. Yeah, that's okay. I think you can still see mainly what I'm talking about here. Thank you to these folks who were involved in the planning team. This is the group that kept us moving along, did a lot of editing. Lima, I know you're there. Thank you so much for your participation as a board member. This group was really great to work with and really just helped make the process easy. You'll remember that we had 3 phases to our process. The learn phase, where we gathered community data. You all gave input during that process. We just had a lot of information that we were gathering, put together the learning report. Then it was early November. It seems like yesterday, but it was 2 months ago that I was there in person with my colleague Laura, and we had a wonderful discussion at our retreat. We had our staff retreat as well. Great discussion there. That's really where we kind of built these elements of the plan and then moved into this last phase where we brought everything together. We're coming to you now with the results of that. And then let me talk about what happens next. So this is the structure of the plan, vision, mission, we'll talk about in a minute. Strategic directions and goals, we'll talk about in a minute. That's the meat of your plan. And then the activities, evaluation, and reporting are like the implementation pieces. And so where we're at right now is looking at strategic directions and goals, vision and mission. That's what you all are reviewing tonight. And then once you all feel good about this, we'll work with staff on developing that activity plan, which is like operationalizing the work that will help us achieve these goals, thinking about how we measure success, and then how we communicate success too. So even though you all are doing a big thing tonight by reviewing this chunk of the plan, there's still a lot of work to go. And I'll work with Pam and staff on figuring out how that all happens. And then that'll be ongoing as you work on the plan. Okay, so what we're gonna do is go through the into 3 strategic directions and the goals for each of those. Staff members have, from the planning team, have divided up and they're going to present each of these to you. If you want to follow along in your written plan, we're going to be going over pages 7, 8, and 9. And basically, introducing these strategic directions and goals to you. We'll pause after each one and see if you have questions or comments or feedback. My hope is that when you see what we've come up with, that it's going to look very familiar to you based on the conversation we had at the retreats. And again, the planning team has gone over all of this and given some great suggestions. After we do this part, we'll go back and talk about the vision and mission statements. So I'm going to call on Karina first to talk about our first strategic direction and provide responsive services and evolve community connections.
Awesome. All right, so like Amanda said, the first strategic direction is to provide responsive services and evolve community connections. We obviously see the data. We have the data that shows us that our community has grown within the last 10 years. And with the ever-changing community that we serve, we obviously as a organization in this community have to change also. And so I'm personally really excited about this goal just because I feel like it is at our core what we stand for. It is providing service to the community, our diverse, multicultural, beautiful community, right? So for this one, we have 3 goals. The first one is enhancing traditional services and cultivate non-traditional services to position the library as a vital community resource. And this one really is just continuing the stuff we're already doing, but just kind of involving what else the community needs. Like, is it more ELL services? Is it expanding civic services? So just hearing what the community needs and where we can fit in that so that they come to us for those needs. The last 2, 1.2 and 1.3 actually really go very well, and that's going to be how we get the information so that we can enhance these services. So 1.2 is expand outreach and partnerships to raise awareness of the library's value. We already work so well with lots of community organizations, and it really is just diving deeper into that. There's lots of other places, that we can get information to help us with number 1. And then, of course, 1.3 is prioritize communications and promotions to strengthen the relationships and connect with new users. So we already have really awesome, of course I have to say that, awesome. Newsletter. So it's just what else can we do so that we can get the word out that we are vital to the community. And really the desired results for that is seeing an increase in use, seeing an uptake in attendance of events, an increase in the cardholder rate. But even among that, I look forward to hearing about how patrons feel welcome in this place and how we are a place that they go to for fun things and to learn things and to get things done, right? So that's strategic direction number 1.
Awesome. Anybody have questions, comments for Karina or anyone else from the planning team?
There are no questions.
Okay, great. Okay, so I think Courtney's up next. She's going to talk about strategic direction 2, welcome all through inspiring spaces and inclusive operations. Courtney.
Okay, I'm here. Sorry. Hi.
Hi.
Like Amanda said, the strategic direction 2 is to welcome all through inspiring spaces and inclusive operation. And we identified a couple of goals that really align with that. The strategic direction 1 kind of focuses on the things we provide to the public, the services and the materials that we provide. The second one really focuses on this physical building and how it operates and what we can provide within this space. As libraries have evolved, we always talk about we're like the community gathering space, right? And in order for us to maintain that, I don't want to say like that status, but it is a little bit of a status. In order for us to maintain that, we do need to continue to change our spaces. Now, does that mean we need 700 individual meeting rooms, or does it mean that we need more open space or more play space, or what is it, and what do those things mean? As we work through this strategic plan, obviously we have the data of the public, what the public would prefer us to be. We continue to gather that data just anecdotally with people that are physically in the building, but gathering more of that data so that we can be what the community wants. And the goals for that are to maximize access and comfort of library spaces. We have been working on that obviously over the past, since 2015 when we did the first floor renovation. We also did then the youth services renovation, but expanding upon that. We're all already, I hate to say already, but it's 2014, it's 2024. And we're coming up on 10 years since the renovation of the first floor. And so we're looking at, okay, did that serve what we needed it to do when we did it? Is that continuing to be enough, or do we need to look at what's going on the first floor, especially now that the basement looks so pretty? So kind of just assessing that and making sure that we focus on that access, whether it's to the collection or whether it's to the programs that we provide, because maybe the elevator wasn't working for a couple of months, and then that reduces the access that the public has to what we provide. So kind of focusing on that. The second goal being to center inclusion and belonging in all aspects of library services and operations, making sure that focus stays on inclusiveness, whether that's in ability or language spoken or education level, whatever it is, making sure that we keep that at the front of everything that we do when we look at the spaces that we are providing to the public. Focusing on those two goals, we do hope to see more people talking about how awesome the library is, right? That mouth-to-mouth advertisement and marketing. Sorry, Karina, just take your job and give it to the public. No, but making sure that people have a positive perception of the library and that they're talking about it. I think we already do kind of a really good job of that. And I think that the community really responds well to the things that we do, but making sure that whatever we're doing continues that and continues to foster that. Keeping people satisfied and people feeling like their culture and their interests, because they are a part of our community, that their culture, their interests are reflected in what we're providing. So anyway.
Awesome. Thank you, Courtney. Anybody have questions, comments for Courtney or on this strategic direction and goals?
No question.
Not hearing anything. Okay, awesome. Okay, last strategic direction. I think, Pam, you're going to talk about this one, ensure dynamic and collaborative organization, so go for it.
Okay. Excuse me, I may lose my voice. I've been really sick last week, so give us a try. So our last strategic direction is to ensure a dynamic and collaborative organization, which is a more staff, internal focused strategic direction. We say a lot that what makes the library so great is our awesome staff. And I know it's important to the board, it's important to me that we maintain that staff, that we continue to attract really high quality employees when we have openings. So we have 3 goals associated with this. We want to invest in organizational and staff development to ensure that our staff continues to grow professionally. So that we can provide learning opportunities for them. Are there ways that we can support them internally at the library, not only our professional staff, but our support staff as well. Build team and organizational culture for a high job satisfaction. We've already started to do a lot of these types of things where we're trying to foster more interdepartmental communication. We've created, we're redoing the onboarding process that we have, creating buddy programs so that people feel more welcome as we bring them on, and that they have a really high job satisfaction when they're here. And then 3, to encourage innovation and exploration of library trends that intersect with community needs. There's a lot of things that are changing all the time in the world and in technology and all kinds of things and the types of library services we provide. We want to make sure that our staff stays up to date on those things and to examine all of those new things that are coming out with an eye towards how can that make our services better towards our community. So, excuse me, some of the desired results, obviously, we want to keep the staff we have. As we said, we have great staff, we want to keep them, so we want to maintain staff retention. We want staff to feel that they're supported and that they're safe. There's a lot of talk about, physical safety in the libraries right now. And we all know how that is, having bomb threats and that kind of thing. So we want to make sure that staff feel safe and supported, both professionally and, as I said, their physical safety as well. That our customer service satisfaction is high as well. If the staff is happy, they can provide great service, which then in turn hopefully will make our patrons and the community happy. That staff report any changes we make are positive changes for them and for the way that the organization runs, and that the board members continue to feel confident in your roles, and that you continue to feel like you can be strong advocates for the library because it's such a great place, and that people become more aware of ways to donate to the library, which is always an ongoing thing. As the board knows, some of our community members may not know, but the library is almost 99.9% funded by local property taxes. So any ways that we can either encourage people to further support us or other revenue streams, if you will, are always things that we're looking for.
Yep. Awesome. Any questions on that one?
Great. Did you have a question, Mohammed? No. Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, so let's, so the last piece of the plan is to talk about vision and mission. And you all will remember that when we were together for our retreat, we talked about kind of the difference in these statements, that the vision should be something that is aspirational and also like inspires people to get involved. It's what you hope for your community. Something that you could say to people like, the library is about this, and people would say, oh, cool, I'd like to, be involved in that. Whereas your mission is more concrete, much more descriptive, very much like this is the work that we do as a library in hopes of achieving our vision. And we had lots of options that the planning team looked at, talked about. The options that are on the screen, 2 options for vision, 2 options for mission, are what we narrowed it down to. In one of the visions, there's a couple word options there. Our hope tonight is that you all can come to consensus on either one of these statements that's on the screen, or if you have ideas for something else that you'd like to include in your vision and mission. So this is where I need your input. We're going to start with vision. We've got the 2 options there. You can read through them for a second. Is anyone excited about one of these statements or want to offer something else?
So is
Pam, I'll let you kind of interpret for if people are commenting.
Is it dream or learn? Is there gonna be a
Yeah,
slash
you would
there?
choose
I don't
one of
think
the
It was choose. We
Choose.
would like the
Okay.
board to choose one. We
Got it.
couldn't decide as we were kind of wordsmithing.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
yes, so we would like a choice there, or a different word altogether,
I agree.
so.
Yeah.
I
And
think
you can see in number 2, we have dream/learn. Like we don't intend it to be dream/learn. We thought you might like one of those words more than, or a different word completely, but we couldn't decide on that either.
I think there's some good parts. It's Emily, Amanda, hi, hey.
Hi.
I don't know. I think there's some good parts to both of them. Something that I was kind of playing around with in my head was something, because I like inspiring, I like that word. But I also like the concrete statement of not concrete, it's still welcoming of number 1. So my thought was something like your place for connection, information, inspiration, and community. So that was, and we're brainstorming, but I like the inspiration because it's not just information. The library is also about discovery. So I like number 1, but I like potentially adding either or your place for connection, information, discovery, and community, or something like that.
Okay.
I like some of those keywords in number 2, but maybe combining it a little bit with the first one.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And one of the reasons why I like when vision statements kind of have multiple words like that is in terms of marketing, like staff can kind of pull those different words for different purposes. And so I agree, I like inspiration too. Other thoughts?
No one can say anything, so.
We're just gonna go with what Emily said.
Mohammed, did you,
I prefer number 2.
Mohammed prefers number 2.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling that way as well. This is Lima. I think it's inspiring is a keeper. And maybe since the vision is supposed to be aspirational, we could go inspiring all to discover, dream, and connect. And then for the mission, which is more concrete and, action oriented, the work that we actually do, if we go with number 1, that kind of includes, personal growth, entertainment, learning. So we may be cutting out the vision word learn, but we're still getting it covered in the aspect of what we actually do in the library.
Yeah, I like that
I
line.
like vision 2 and mission 1 for what it's worth.
Okay.
I also feel like what I do like about number 1 is when it says your place, and when you pick mission option number 1, by saying welcoming space, you're kind of covering that
Mm.
aspect of it. So if we do go with number 2 for vision, then I think number 1 for mission picks up the best aspect of number 1 for
Mhm.
vision.
Yeah.
Sorry if that was confusing.
Did you?
Yeah, I love how you're thinking holistically, right? Like, let's cover all the things that are important to us.
In the committee, in the committee, that was kind of where we landed as well. It was kind of like where, like, whatever the vision statement was, the mission kind of would reflect the, like, key tag words in the other, in the other vision. Does that make sense? Like,
Maybe like 1 and 2.
1 and 2 or 2 and 1, yes, exactly. That's kind of how we
Yeah, like
were
you have
thinking of it.
inspire in number 2.
Yes, exactly. We liked all of those words, so we wanted them to end up in either the vision or the mission, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I think why 1 grabbed me so much is because I like the ownership that our patrons would feel of your place. That this is a place for you and for your family and for a generational kind of, so I think that's why that drew me. I like what number 2 says, and I agree, if it was number 2 for vision, then I agree it should be number 1 for mission. I think the word community should be upfront in either vision or mission, so I think that would cover that.
Okay, so I'm starting to hear some consensus around vision number 2, with the word dream instead of learn, and then mission number 1. Anybody else want to speak to that, or just like hate it and want to suggest something else?
Yeah, Courtney wants to add something.
So is it possible to make it something like your place, inspiring all to discover, dream, and connect? Like, could it sort of include both, if people really like the your place aspect? Does that make, like, I'm trying to combine, like, I don't know, maybe not.
I wonder if that complicates it a little too much, Courtney. I see what you're doing, I respect that. It might just make it a little too not roll off the tongue.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we have to remember that the vision should be something that easily comes to mind, and we don't have to
Yeah.
stumble over, well,
Yeah.
what was it exactly?
Trying to remember what it was.
Try to remember all the adjectives.
Then where does the comma go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, okay, so inspiring all to discover, dream, and connect, and then we provide the community a welcoming space and resources for personal growth, entertainment, and lifelong learning. Anybody else thoughts on that, or feel okay? Objections, I guess, is what we're looking, it sounds like there's enough consensus, but if anybody objects, we should know about that.
Is there anything that I'm missing?
Do you have anyone
People are
objecting?
thinking, no, I don't.
Okay, all right, we'll give them-
But people are kind of thinking Muhammad. or
Sorry,
something, that's okay.
No, looking at the 2, the one word that we're kind of there's 2 words we're leaving on the floor, the cutting floor. Your, which I do like, but I just don't see a great place to stick it in. And
Yeah.
then experiences.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's a way to take experiences from mission statement number 2 and kind of shoehorn it in a flowing way to mission statement number 1. Like maybe we provide the community a welcoming space with resources and experiences for personal growth. I don't know. if that
Ooh,
makes
I
any
like
sense.
that.
If we really want experiences to make the cut. Otherwise, I'm kind of also okay without it.
So what you want, you're saying that the mission would be, we provide the community a welcoming space with resources and experiences for personal growth, entertainment, and lifelong learning.
Right, or if there's a more logical way, or a more seamless way to do it.
No, I actually really like that, and the reason I like it is because it helps people get beyond that libraries are just about resources, that it is also about the stuff that you can come do or absorb, at the library. So what I wrote down is we provide the community a welcoming space with resources and experiences for personal growth, entertainment, and lifelong learning. I think that's great.
There's lots of nodding, yes.
Okay, yeah, I really like that change.
And
All right,
the word experiences is reminding me of the summer event that we had. That's what people came for, right?
Yes.
Experience. And it was like the most successful event.
Or like the
Absolutely.
piano concert we just had that was
Yes.
wall to wall.
Yeah,
Everyone,
Awesome.
everyone seems to really like that,
okay, great. Okay, I'm gonna count to 10 in my head, let you think a few more minutes here.
Sorry to keep chiming in, educate's also not in there.
Yep.
And then, I know on the vision, we have dream/learn, where I feel like learn covers educate, but if we leave learn, then it's
Well,
not.
you have
Lifelong learning in the mission.
lifelong learning.
Yeah.
Lifelong learning.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right,
Which,
Yeah.
it's
you
right
know,
there.
I think
learning and
it's covered.
education.
I prefer lifelong learning as opposed to educate because I think it's a broader, it doesn't, educate, we have tendency
And it feels like school.
the school, exactly. And
Yes.
this lifelong learning, it doesn't matter, you're not in school or whatever, you're still learning things all the time.
And lifelong
Yep.
learning seems like personally driven versus educate feels like coming at you, like, is it?
Oh, yeah.
And Courtney
I like
also
that.
mentioned that educate feels, that lifelong learning feels personally driven, whereas educate's
Yeah.
kind of at you.
Awesome.
Like, someone's teaching you something, as opposed to, I'm learning all these good things from programs or books or whatever.
Yeah, cool. Okay, it sounds like we have a vision and mission. That's awesome.
Everyone is, so the vision would be inspiring all to discover, dream, and connect. And
Yes.
the mission is we provide the community a welcoming space with resources and experiences for personal growth, entertainment, and lifelong learning.
Yeah, awesome.
Everyone good?
Yeah.
I see lots of nodding. so-
Yay, awesome. Good job, everybody. This can be hard and the great discussion. Okay, so let me tell you again about this transition between planning and implementation. I think I've mentioned several times throughout our process that, planning is a kind of regimented process that I was helping you with, I was leading for you, but now we're transitioning to implementation, and this is where staff will start to take over. So let me tell you kind of what that looks like. I mentioned there's kind of 3 pieces to that. Activity planning, this is the process where we take all that feedback from the retreats and we kind of map it to the different goals, and then start to have staff talk about, like, all right, is this something we really want to work towards? Like, when would we do this? Would we need funds for this? Who would be working on this? And so developing that activity plan will take a little while, and then that's like the guiding document for all of implementation, because as you complete things or work towards things, you can update and add things to that, or maybe something gets delayed, so you kind of move it down on the list and something else comes up. So it's really that tool that staff will use to make sure that all these goals are top of mind as you're working on them. Evaluation then is a big part of that, because evaluation will inform what changes might we need to make with that activity plan on an ongoing basis. So one thing that we'll talk about is what data are we already gathering, how do we map that to the current goals, so that'll be part of our next discussion with staff. And then, during the retreats, we talked about like other data we might need to gather, and you heard both Karina and Courtney talk about like stories that we might need to gather to show the impact that we're having, the progress that we're making towards goals. And even internally, like stories from staff are important to show that, that job satisfaction and that sort of thing. And then reporting. So how will you as the board know that everything's on track? We'll talk about what that might look like. We'll talk about how to report, how we're reporting to the community now. Does that need to change? And then also keeping staff informed about what's happening, what their piece is. So those 3 pieces will continue to kind of weave together throughout the duration of the plan. And we'll be working on those, getting a meeting scheduled here in the next couple of weeks. to kick that all off. So there may be a little bit of a gap here before you hear more about what's moving forward, but just know that things will be going on behind the scenes. Anybody have any final questions, comments, thoughts?
I think a lot of us are internally very excited about this because it all started in April. And we've made progress throughout last year. And now we're sitting here and kind of polishing up what we came up with, and we're ready to make it real, make it happen. And, you know, it's just a good feeling to have a new strategy and a new way of moving forward. You know, it feels solid, it feels integrated, not just amongst us and the library staff, but with the community. So it just feels great.
Awesome. Thanks, Lima. I appreciate that. Yes, it's beautiful when it comes together. Anybody else? Any other thoughts, questions, comments? Okay. So I'll get the document finalized. We'll also put together a one-page graphical version, and that will be really handy for staff to use for communication. Karina, I'll work with you on that. I mean, everybody, whoever wants to work on it, but we'll get that going over the next couple weeks too. So thank you. This has been a great process, and Pam will be in touch about next steps.
Great. Thank you, Amanda.
Okay, bye everybody. Stay safe. See ya.
Thanks everyone for that. Next up on the agenda is the executive director annual evaluation, specifically about the 2024 goal setting. What has everyone's thought about tabling this discussion until next month after everyone has had a chance to kind of digest the strategic plan that we just discussed? Does that kind of alter anyone's thoughts with Pam's goals?
Do we know how long it'll take to get the next part of the strategic plan,
The implementation
the
plan,
implementation plan?
in terms of like an actual written document,
I guess any way that we can work, I feel like maybe that's where we're gonna see, okay, these are the concrete steps, and then Pam would be supervising the implementation of all that.
Uh-huh.
But if it's gonna take a while, we don't wanna be in, June.
on the goals I did give the board, I think one of them was begin implementation towards whatever goals we outlined.
Right.
So I mean, I do cover it that way a little bit. So I mean, if the board wants to be more specific, I think it's entirely appropriate to wait till like March or something like that to say, okay, we've got this now, and here's the specific things we need to see out of that. I mean, if that kind of covers that. The implementation team will probably be mostly the managers.
Okay.
And then, so we'll meet sometime within the next couple of weeks, probably 2 to 3 weeks, is my understanding. But I don't know what kind of documentation and how long it will take to kind of have that come out of that. So if that helps. It's not really a concrete answer, but.
I mean, it feels like we could proceed instead of waiting because the goals that we're setting down don't have to be so specific,
Yeah.
like do, every little bitty thing.
Yeah.
They could be more high level and just proceed and amend as needed
Yeah.
throughout the year.
No, I agree. I just, because there's this strategic plan was such a big focus and undertaking, I wanted to give everyone the chance to at least kind of review everything. So was there anything that at least that jumped out at anyone that we wanted to add to Pam's goals that she gave to us? It was last month that she gave to us. Is there anything anyone wanted to add? I mean, again, there is an implementation, begin implementation of strategic plan on there. We were kind of discussing this last month, if there's anything that anyone wanted to add. Did anyone think of anything?
I took notes on something that we talked about, and I don't have any, so.
Okay.
I don't. Did you have thoughts?
I'm sure I did.
Okay, I felt like you had some things, but I clearly didn't write down your thoughts, so I don't know what we need to discuss.
Okay. All right.
The other thing we can do, if it is useful to the board, is we haven't listened to the executive session, neither Suzanne or I. So if you guys did talk about some of those things before you had called me in for my portion of the review, we can certainly do that and say, oh, you talked about this. I mean, if you want us to do that, we can do that.
Well, at this point, I would say I don't think anything is jumping out. I mean, and even that that was 4 whole weeks ago, so it's not like my, recall is that good, but, there was nothing that I think, huge that jumped out at anybody, but I wanted to give everybody, the
I
opportunity
do
to.
remember one thing we talked about.
Okay.
Was we went back and forth deciding if we thought the last update of goals, if that was helpful for us to do the review, and then we decided it's fine the way it is. That was like a good 15 minutes of talking.
Okay, yeah,
I see it now at number 11.
okay.
And then I think we also talked about some of the goals that were on there were more part of everyday operational stuff as opposed to.
Yes, yeah.
I guess
that
it would
was
be the other
big-
thing, is there anything that you feel doesn't need to be on this?
Yes, number 9, because
Okay.
you just do that,
Right.
and probably number 8, in my opinion, this is just me speaking.
I mean, I don't intend to stop doing this.
I know, like,
Yeah.
you are just
Yeah.
to do that, like, it's not something we'd be like, check in, like, are you doing it?
Okay, well, let's, I don't know if everyone has the goals in front of them, but I think, and
I was just talking about.
no, that's okay. I mean, I think 8 through maybe 11 are just part of
Mhm.
what you do.
Right.
So, if that's something that, I don't think it helps you necessarily stay accountable, because you're gonna be accountable anyway, because you do your job well, so, so I would almost leave that to your discretion, whether you want to continue keeping those on your goals,
Okay.
but I would say, I mean,
So it sounds like, as what I'm hearing is correct, I'm sorry, is that the goals, like for this year and potentially going forward, is not to focus so much on those regular things that we should be doing, but that are maybe the things that we absolutely want to accomplish in that year?
yeah,
Maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, and you always have other goals as outlined as the board, but I think, in terms of, our process, in terms of the evaluation, when it's measurable, when we look at the goals, we're gonna look at that, at the meat that
big
you,
ones, yeah.
right? We know you're gonna do your job, because, we trust you to do that, so, and you definitely don't need to provide us 15 goals to show us that you do, so, is that, did I cover that?
Yeah.
Okay. And look, we meet once a month, so if something comes up and one of us, we think of something, we can always, chat then too, so. Okay,
And this is a living document.
it's the living document, yes, thank you. Okay, new business, no new business, communications, I hope everyone saw the really sweet, holiday cards that the library got. It's always sweet when people take the time to do that. So, public comments, non-agenda items. I do want to take a second and just recognize that we have 3 of our awesome staff here, and you don't get to hear it from our mouth very often of how awesome we think you are, but you make us and the library look good because people love the library because of you guys, so thank you. And we also have some members of Troop 228 here tonight. You don't have to say anything, but this is your public comments, non-agenda items. This would be your time to say something if you'd like.
Hello, I'm Aiden Hager, a scout for Troop 228, and I'm working on a communications background.
Good job.
Hello, my name is Carrick Sanger. I'm from Troop 228, and I'm also working on my communications background.
My name is Evan Dawson, same thing as them.
Thanks for coming.
Well, thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for chaperoning. All right, anything else, anyone?
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask,
Oh, yeah.
can I get this digitally now?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to recycle other paper
Yeah.
anymore. I'm gonna be like Mark.
Okay. Yeah, that's no problem at all.
Okay, so,
Just
Yeah,
one
go
note, should we, are we having to pick up the
yeah, to
packets
pick up
from you?
packets?
No.
Yay!
It's fine, it's fine, so we have a routine and everything, and I know the board is used to that, and it actually works out a little bit better for us in terms of timing.
Yeah.
So we'll just continue to deliver the packets to you, except for now Joanne, we won't do that. And then, and Mark, so they'll get their packets digitally, but the rest of them will continue to do that, and Mohammed already picks his up.
Yeah,
So
we'll
it's
get
right
it.
across the street, so, yeah. So we'll ignore that, I had suggested that, that's right.
Okay,
So-
that's fine,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. All right, so if no one has anything else, it is 7:47, meeting's adjourned, everyone stay warm